Hey, good morning. Welcome to Near Shores Prepping. I'm your host, Greg. I know it's an early morning video. We got a lot to do today. Very busy day today. My income tax check came in, and I am so happy because my paychecks don't go far enough, and it's one paycheck just to fill up one vehicle, and then it's like, okay, it's a good thing we have food already in the pantry. Good job, Tab, buying more chickens and thinking of us when you're buying them. I appreciate it. I had to laugh about that. The crazy chicken lady has cut me off for the time being, so all I can do is look at videos and fantasize about what pretty chicken to add next. And good job, Benjamin, for keep stocking up that food. Way to go. Don't worry about who's not helping or anything else. You help you, and the rest will follow. Yesterday, the missus was looking for me, and she banged on the bathroom door while I was sitting on the throne. She goes, "What the hell, you get lost in there or something?" And of course, I'm in the reading room and I'm reading my magazines, chicken magazine, to learn how to protect and grow our investments for chickens and eggs and for the future and everything else. So I kind of get lost in the reading while doing my business. So I came back out and I said, "What's going on?" And she goes, "You're not going to believe this." And I said, "Try me." And she goes, "The other day I received a text message from an unknown source." I said, "Well, that's never good." And she said it was a name with a bunch of numbers and letters on it. And I'm like, "Well, what did it say?" And she goes, "I don't know." So she had to ask somebody, and they got back to her laughing and said, "We are not going to decipher this code for you." And she goes, "It's a code." And he goes, "Yes, it's a sex link code that perverts use to talk in code." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "What do you got to have? Your Ovaltine decoder ring to understand the conversation?" And she goes, "No, they actually have a website that has a booklet to match up with the numbers and the codes and everything else so they can talk in code. So, in case they are juveniles or married or something else or drug dealers, and they don't want their significant others to see what they're doing and understand what they're doing, they type this code." Well, of course, they were blocked and everything else. But I am like, what in the world is this generation? And I will be the first to admit, I am not computer literate. As you could tell by the videos, I don't even know how to edit, so you get what you get, good, bad, and otherwise. But this generation that uses deception to communicate with one another is lost. And these are the people that are going to suffer the most and inflict the most damage on others while trying to survive. And I feel bad for this generation, but they brought it on themselves. I had a conversation with one of my very best longtime friends, and we got to reminiscing up there about the good times and bad times on this when we were up in Alaska. And I said, "You know something? When we were working together in a grocery store during the 70s and 80s, and we had a job to do, the store was not open 24/7. We locked the doors. We cranked up the tapes, AC/DC or whoever it was, Aerosmith or whoever we were listening to at the time, put a rubber band on the microphone, and I mean, we had that store rocking. And that we were on a crew, and all of us knew what we had to do. We put our heads down and we got it done. And I mean, we were just throwing freight, stocking shelves nowadays because there's too many delicate daisies, but we were throwing freight using razors, cutting the boxes, stamping them, or using a label gun to put prices on and putting them on the shelf and moving on. And we would each individually have to throw 300 pieces of freight a night. And all of us were smoking. We had, each of us brought like a 12-pack of Pepsi or Coca-Cola or whatever it was. And I was smoking Camel cigarettes at the time. And let me tell you something. I'd have cigarettes in both pockets. And it was go for it. Balls to the walls, what we used to say. And we would throw it, cardboard would be stacked up on the floor, and we would really hit it hard. It was an 8-hour shift, and we would really hit it hard, breaking a sweat, and everything else. And then clean up, have the floors swept, mopped, and ready for the next day's business. That was our job. That's what we got paid to do. We worked hard for our paychecks. And we were laughing about that, about some of the vulgarities we used to do as a joke, and I'm not going to go into that. But my friends are still up there in Alaska, and I'm pleased to find out that they do watch my video. I'm sure they're making comments to themselves. But growing up, you earned your money, you earned your keep, and that's the way it is. Nowadays, when you have to have code to get a date or talk inappropriate with somebody, you're a lost generation. You're in the age of deception, and you have no clue what's coming for you, and you really don't care. I'm not asking everyone to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna put down the computer and learn to grow, tomatoes or something else like that, because it's a wasted breath on these people. So don't do it. But this is who you will be seeing crying out, looking for handouts, saying, honey, I was playing on the computer, my video games, and we're out of food. I don't have a paycheck. The lights went out. What are we going to do? And they're going to look in there and say, well, our microwave is out, so we can't cook, because they don't know how to cook. We can't go to Benihana's and get takeout or whatever your restaurant is nowadays, because I'm so lost. We haven't gone to a restaurant in years, because we grow our own food. We buy 4-H fair cattle and pigs and everything else and stock up the freezer, which is all natural. But these people are going to say, well, the microwave doesn't work. The restaurants are closed because it's blackout. I can't get to the ATM because all our money's in there. What are we going to do? How are we going to eat? How are we going to survive? I don't have a gun because I'm afraid of them. Don't waste your breath on these people. If they're not playing the first shooter, newest release game, they're not interested in survival. They're interested in fantasy. And I just looked and I said, when we were dating, when we first started dating, I just asked you, do you want to go out? You want to go to a movie? You want to go out to dinner? You want to get a cup of coffee? And then we let nature take its course. And almost 30 years later, we're still together, and we don't need to talk in code to express our thoughts to one another, because we have nothing to hide. I was stunned. Whoever thought you'd need an Ovaltine decoder ring to decipher a text message? This generation is lost. You don't be. Get yourself right with God and get baptized. Greg out.